G'day, my name is John. Welcome to the channel and back to the ED project. First off, thank you all so much for watching the first video. I am truly overwhelmed by the amount of people that commented and watched that first video, so thank you so much. So what's next for this project? Well, we've got this list from the previous owner, plus a few things that we found on the walk around that we know we need to fix. So the goal of this video is to get what we need to get done for a roadworthy. I want to get the roadworthy done. I want to get it on Club Rego as well, so we can get out there and start driving it, put some Ks on it before we go down the route of aftermarket ECUs and the turbo conversion as well. So let's get stuck into it. First thing I'm going to do is get both these spindles off. I've got new upper and lower ball joints. The upper ball joint on this side is completely shot. So I'm going to do tops and bottoms, but I'm going to get a local mechanic to press them in for me. The bottom ones on these are a bit of a nightmare if you're not familiar with them. So yeah, we'll get these off and down to the mechanics tomorrow. Hello, Benj. All right, so last weekend I had a mate come help and we did a couple of things. So the front brake pads were completely shot. I've probably got them here still. So that was the state of the front pads. So we chucked some pads in it. And I'll show you what we found on the other side when we get over there. But we readjusted the wheel bearing, which we're gonna have to pull apart now anyway. They seem sweet. The rotors are rusted up, but they don't have any lip on them at all. So hopefully they'll clean up with the drive. And then yeah, upper ball joint stuffed. So we will get this whole spindle out, and then yeah, get them replaced. Got tie rod ends and steering rack boots to do as well, because there's the steering rack boots all torn. I've got freshies. I'll do tie rod ends because I'm here. Why not? I wonder if they can press them out without me taking them. No, they can't. Nope. I've got to take the brakes off. Only put fresh split pins in this and redid the bearing adjustment last weekend, but now we got bigger issues. We can come back and do this again. I can get this a bullet pin out. Right, you're gone. Bearing adjustment, it feels pretty good, like this. feels pretty good. I'd like to set it back to where I had it. But we'll see. Keep everything in the bearing cap down there. Now we're going to lose these bearings. Yep. The outer. It's not bad. I'm going to get a Ziploc bag for that in a sec. And the inner one looks like it's staying on. You're coming too. Nice. Alright, I'm gonna get a Ziploc. Alright, it's gonna, oh, look at that. I mean, that's all the grease, oh my gosh. Looked like there was some sort of seal in there, but it's just this perfect ring of grease. I wonder if they're original. They're Timkins. They would have been done at some point, surely. They feel alright. They look fine. I may repack them before I put them back together. Just to be sure. Oh man, wheel bearing grease. What's worse, diff oil or wheel bearing grease? I feel like wheel bearing grease may be worse than diff oil, but that really stinks. A little bit of leak out the back of this seal, but it's not terrible. Alright, so we've got ABS on this car. So I have to get that bolt out. Get back there, undo the wiring somewhere. I assume, no, actually we don't. If we take that off, we can tie that up in the car. And then tie rod off, upper and lower ball joints off. We are out of here. It's not tight at all. It's definitely the actual ball joint that's gone. It's not just the fact that that bolt was completely loose, because it would still be sitting in the taper. But the actual ball joint is junk. Alright. Now this lower one, how do you E-Series fellas deal with that?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Siri, I was not talking to you. You can't get a socket on it. I've only done this once before in an E-Series. I didn't enjoy it. So I'm guessing spanner on there. Oh, I better deal with this ABS bolt too. What'll that be, probably 10? Yeah. Alright. 10 mil to get that out. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Is that all caked on junk on there? I reckon that's that wheel bearing seal. The back one. Still plenty of grease in there, so we'll clean it up, get it all back in and repack those. Put that there. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that is gross. Beautiful. Tuck you somewhere out of the way because I can't imagine they're cheap. Sorry for the shot here, it's very difficult to get you guys in here on this magical journey with me. That's not a 19, is it? That's a 21. Is it a 21? It's not even a 21. What's going on? What is going on? It's a 22. Sure. Why not? Oh, yep, that one's tighter than the top. I just need one more. Give me one. It's just not enough leverage. There we go. And of course, I don't have a ratcheting spanner that's 22mm. So, I might just fast forward this bit. And this one. Hello, spindle. Ugh. And you're out. Yep. Toast. Bottom one actually looks okay. Although it's very stiff. So I've got them all, so might as well do them all. Alright, other side. Alright, so plan's the same for this side. I've already got the wheel off over here because when we were doing the brakes last weekend, we found this is basically brake fluid that's leaked everywhere around here. And the seal on the bottom of this, or top rather, when this is installed, but the seal underneath the piston here is all torn and it's leaking brake fluid. So I'm guessing the seal inside here is gone as well, a little O-ring. So I've got a rebuild kit just for this caliper because the other side looked fine, to be honest. So I've got to do that as a separate job at some point, so that's why this is all started to come apart. But we'll get this caliper just hung up back out of the way, and we'll do the same. We'll get this top ball joint out, get the rotor off, and get this spindle out ready to go to the mechanic. Good news, mechanic has finished pressing in these new ball joints, so let's get these spindles back in the car. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 and it fell off. This is completely broken. Yep, only one zip tie apparently. Did that really just go straight on? No way. I don't believe you. But I have to believe you because I don't. Oh. Where's my zip tie? Remember when these used to come with the metal band things? Clearly, zip tie tech has surpassed that. I put one on there. I don't think I need it, eh? Almost didn't put this on, then we'd be in trouble.
What kind of trouble?
The trouble that makes me do something twice. Don't want that. Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
Hang on, it's got to actually bite on the threads. Now what's going on? There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, I did a little bit of work off camera. The caliper on this side was good, so I just gave it a clean up, put the new pads in it, cleaned and repacked and adjusted the wheel bearings, so they feel pretty good, to be honest. That's pretty tight from sitting here because of the pads, new pads, but otherwise that all looked okay. Unfortunately, I lost quite a bit of footage on a corrupted SD card, which is very frustrating, but I want to give you a quick overview of a couple of things I did after all that work on the front end. So got the engine oil changed, so put a nice 1540 in there for now, just getting fresh oil in there for the moment. I did put one of those additives in there to swell up the seals. I've also degreased all the front of the engine and underneath as well, just so we can try and figure out exactly where that leak is coming from. Pretty sure it's going to be front and rear main seals, but that's fine. We'll clean it and tidy it up anyway for the roadworthy, so it's looking shmick. What else did we do? We did the trans service, so not much for me to show you under there, but we flushed out the transmission. Actually, let's go under the car. So I decided to take you out of the car anyway because we ended up changing the auto trans fluid, put Castrol TQ95 in as recommended. Getting pretty hard to find that now. Put a trans filter kit and a new gasket on as well and cleaned it all up. So the drip has stopped, which is fantastic. I think the pan had been tightened too much, so I flattened out all those edges where the bolts bolt in. They were kind of like ballooned out. So I flattened all them off with the hammer on vise and torqued these all to spec. So hopefully we don't have any more leaks or issues from the trans and it drives good. Okay, back up top. The other fun little project I had was the power steering leak. So I don't know if you guys remember back to the walk around, but this was covered in oil. So what we did is we drained all the fluid out of the reservoir. We took off this fitting, obviously the power steering line that goes in the back, but then we took off the secondary fitting. And there's an O-ring on the inside of this line, as well as like the flared fitting. And then on the inside of this big fitting that bolts into the back of the power steering pump, there's another O-ring, and that O-ring in there was hard as a rock. It was really brittle. I think the dimensions were like 19 mil by 3 mil or by 2.5 mil. I can double check and put it as a text on the screen for you, but changing that, and I couldn't find this O-ring, but it was pretty soft anyway, the one that went on this power steering line. And these power steering lines were anywhere between like $47 and $200, so I didn't really want to go order a power steering line if I don't have to. Changed the power steering fluid, flushed that out, added some Moris as recommended by a few people. It seems to be good now. I bled it out. The fluid is beautiful and clean, which is great. What else did we do under here? I think that's probably the main things: the engine oil, the trans oil, and the power steering fluid. I think that's the big stuff we missed. The other thing we did, which we need to go inside, was repairing the smart lock. All right. So, smart lock. So, if you remember in the first video, we saw on the previous owner's mechanics comments that they had a starting issue with the smart lock. So when the car got hot, it wouldn't restart until you let it cool down again, but it would always crank fine from cold. So I did a little bit of research on the forums and on the groups. So thanks everyone for putting your inputs out there and helping us find this stuff. So I found the red and blue wire, red with a blue trace. Those two wires is what comes out of the back of here and goes off to the ECU and then comes back again, and that's basically starter enable. And so that's where the dry joint on the board assumably was, because when it's cold it worked perfectly fine. As soon as it got hot, it didn't start. So yes, I could have pulled this module out, I could have resoldered it,
I could have sent it away to be fixed. I didn't, because there's a pretty high chance that we will go aftermarket ECU in this project, either ECU Master or Haltech, maybe a J3, we'll see. Kind of want to have some fun with it. But what I did for the meantime, and I hope the camera is capturing some of my dodgy work up here. I don't know that it is, but I grabbed those two wires. I know, there it is, it's got it. So I grabbed those two wires and basically joined them together so that from the ECU, the starter request or the start request just comes straight out and goes straight back into itself. It doesn't actually go through this smart lock module at all anymore. It's just bypassed, which is that wire you can see hanging down there. So this effectively is just join those two together and bypass that part of the smart lock circuit. So it works for now. I've had the engine started. I've just let it idle and get, somewhat warm in the garage and then turn it off and start it again. It looks like we've fixed the issue, which is fantastic for now because it gets us by until, as I said, we do something about the aftermarket ECUs.
Alrighty, I think that's all we got time for on the ED today. Video's probably getting a little bit long for only the second video on the channel. I don't want to bore you guys to death with me spinning spanners back and forth. So super happy though with what we got done on the front end of the Falcon. It's obviously almost all new parts up there now, so it's gone a long way to getting it ready for the roadworthy. The main thing we've still got to do is this driver's door latch. So I can still dribble that like a basketball. So that needs to be replaced. I can't seem to get it to function properly. Something is broken in there. So I've ordered one from the wreckers. It'll be here at some point next week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, so we can get that in. Then there's a few other boring jobs to do, wipers, spark plugs, diff oil, just getting it tidied up and ready for the roadworthy. As soon as that part arrives, I will book it in for the roadworthy. So next video, fingers crossed, by the end of that video, it will be done, roadworthied, and ready for registration, which is, yeah, super exciting. I can't wait to get this thing back out on the road. So, all right, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.